I just got a call from the place that's taking care of my car. Thought I'd post what it is, and I wrote down a lot of stuff. Anyway, they ran a test to see why it felt like it was, trying to pull a big ball up a hill when I'm driving it. And I guess the accelerator sensor pedal or something that's in the pedal that communicates to the car to go is not working right. And with these so-called newer cars, everything is like sensors and computers. And that's so disturbing, because I'm pushing the gas and the car's not communicating to go. And all I can think of is like, what if it decides to over-communicate and it really goes, like people who have had their car speeding down the road and they can't control it. I feel safer walking. I've never found myself walking except for when I'm going like down a really steep hill. Sometimes it feels like, when you're a little kid and you run down the hill, but I use self-control and I don't run down the hill, and I watch for leaves and I feel like I have control better of my feet than a gas pedal. It just kind of scares me. So anyway, all this stuff is costing me. There's all this, like there's a copper in the gas or no, the brake fluid or, the brake fluid needs to be changed. There's other stuff that, needs to be done. But the total cost is, up there a little bit, I'll have to pay it, but they are providing me a spare car. I have to, go down and get. And so it's not going to be fixed until Wednesday because they got to order the parts. I would have been covered. On this part if it had like a little over 2,000 less miles. 2,000 less miles. But I deliberately drive my car to make sure that it's not sitting sedentary. I need new tires, which I said I needed new tires, but I'm not getting my tires from there. I'm going to wait and get this, pay this off. And since I don't drive my car much, then I'll get the new tires in the rotation. I'm going to go to Les Schwab for tires because they were amazing when I wanted to go on my road trip in 2024. When I went on my road trip and trying to get a clear to get over to the East Coast real fast. This dealership that I'm no longer dealing with, but it's the dealership. It's under new people. It was so crooked. They were trying to tell me that I needed new brakes. And I'm thinking, at that time, my car had 40-some thousand miles. I'm like, new brakes? I'm not even showing any problems with brakes. And it was just all BS. I won't say the word, but I want to say it. But they were crooked. And I went over because I just was suspicious, and I went over to Les Schwab and they ended up looking at my brakes and they're like, your brakes are fine. They knew what I was doing. And I had to get to the East Coast as fast as possible, and I just thought it was so wrong. And then I went to Les Schwab, I don't know, last year. And because I wanted to get new tires because I felt like, it's time to get new tires. The tread's looking whatever. And they're like, you could hold off a little while if you want to wait on tires. And I'm like, what tire place tells a person who's going in that wants 4 new tires that they could wait a bit? So I did. And now it's like they're in the yellow zone or whatever. And I know I need new tires, but I was planning on getting new tires. And the car dealer place is telling me, hey, it's time to get new tires. And I know that, but I didn't know I was going to have a accelerator issue. But, part of me is like, okay, I'll get it fixed. But it's so bothersome because it's scary, to think that your accelerator is not communicating, with your car. And so in this situation, it's communicating that, go slow. And it's like, on the flip side, go fast. Like, that just bothers me. It bothers me because, I have a good memory for horror stories, and that family that was in that vehicle where it accelerated and the person driving was a CHP, California Highway Patrol officer. And they were all, it ended up in a serious, terrible tragedy and loss of life. And the 911 calls were played over and over. And it wasn't his driving. It wasn't a faulty floor mat. It was something with the vehicle, and I feel like there's just all this stuff is so computerized and computers can go, wrong. And I don't feel like I'm driving a Flintstone car where I can put my feet out and try to stop it. But literally when the car started doing what it was doing when I was going up this hill, I was waiting to see, like, is there going to be smoke? Because I'm pulling over quick and I'm getting out. I'm not going to sit in this car while it goes up in a big puff of smoke. But they said my car's in good shape. It is well maintained, and it has been well maintained. It's just costly. Cars are too costly. I want to walk. I could have a lot of shoes. I could have a shoe for each pair a day to wear. Not that I'm into shoes, but, to wear good supporting shoes and walk. I can walk. Anyway, so he says that they can send an Uber to get me to get the car. And I'm like, well, I'd rather walk. Well, we don't want you walking in the rain. And it's like, I just got issues getting into strangers' cars. I'm not an Uber person. I trust my husband's driving, and I trust mine, but I am not a passenger, in cars. And it's like some stranger is going to pull up and pick me up and take me down there. I mean, I've done it before, but it's a short distance, but it kind of like, it's scary. To me, it's scary. Like a stranger driving. Like, I have people that I've known that I won't go in their car with them because of their driving. And some of them have been Uber type drivers, and it's like, no. I am a very, very cautious driver, very self-defense, look around, scan, and that's how I walk. So I'm just rambling, I'm rambling because of this cost. Every time I try to save money, they take my money. But no, I was expecting it to be kind of total engine failure because I make things into catastrophes. This isn't total engine failure, and it's not covered by warranty. But it could be worse. It's not that bad. Not that good either. All right. Do you know what my husband tells me about me? You're so dramatic. Yeah, I'm being dramatic. But I hope this video finds you well. I wonder if my mama's listening to me. I can't wait till I can explain to her that the car, Can you imagine? We drove through Wyoming. We drove through many states. We drove through Wyoming. We drove through the deserts of Arizona. One of our trips, we drove through stuff. And I can't imagine, my car, all of a sudden the accelerator doesn't work and I'm on a highway, a desolate highway where my sensor systems are breaking down. Like, I could just see it. I was on a road trip once and was in my daughter's vehicle that had like electronical issues, and all of a sudden the lights would flash, windows would go up and down. It was scary. And we were going through the Mojave Desert, and I was like terrified. Like, if one of this car decides to act up and we're out there, but before we went into the desert, I loaded up with so much water, and stuff, because I thought in my mind we're going to be broke down in the desert. But that was a long time ago, and we made it. That was in 2009, the summer of 2009. Yes. But we have a beautiful big country in the United States that has extensive highway systems because this country was built on the automobile, and was built for the automobile. That's most definite. You can tell that it wasn't built from a walking community. But fortunately, my little city next to the swamp in the Bay Area, I can walk to the store if I had to. I can jump on a bus. There is public transportation. I could call Uber. And I have, people, maybe I could say, hey, give me a ride, but I like to walk. I do like to walk. And, I do have a nice little coat that I can walk in, and I look like a nut walking it because of the way the coat looks, but it's very distinct and, very visible. And I got a big umbrella, and my umbrella acts as a, kind of a self-defense mechanism because it's a big umbrella with a big point on the end. And, and it looks like outside, it looks like it's going to rain. And like, what's wrong with, I can go down the street and I can be crying in the rain because I'm going to pay money for my car. Anyway, no such thing as a free lunch. Cars cost too much. I just got done paying for its stupid smog and the insurance. It's got full coverage. That's why they're letting me have one of their cars. You have to have full coverage insurance. So they're providing a car at no cost for me till Wednesday, as long as I got full coverage insurance. I don't know. I wonder what kind of car I'm going to get. Hopefully not one with an accelerator that gets stuck. All right. Toodles.